I want to take you on a walkthrough of all the things you're going to have access to once you join Conceive with Ease. So this is your course portal, and you already have access to the 7-Day Chill Out Challenge. You may also have gotten the Fertile Mindset Guided Tour and the Improving Egg Quality Workshop. Once you've done the 7-Day Challenge, you also have an invitation to join Conceive with Ease, and this is a course bundle essentially, and that's going to unlock several other courses for you. So it will include these two if you don't already have them, and the laid back cycle charting course, the 90-day egg nurturing program, the integrative fertility assessment workshop series, and all of the coaching sessions that I've done over the last year and a half, and special workshops that have happened inside the program. Inside Conceive with Ease, you're also going to find our mind-body core practices. So this is what you're already familiar with, the 7-Day Challenge, and then I'm going to show you inside the Conceive with Ease course area. This is the first thing you'll see after you join, and you'll come in and see the introduction area where you can introduce yourself and see who else is coming on board. You'll see quite a bit of history of all the people who have joined over the last year and a half. And then there's a lot of orientation introduction material, and there are several bonus content areas. One that I want to point out to you is the extra meditations. So these are handy short meditations that you can use to fill in those spaces in the day where you want to just ground yourself and check in, or maybe it's a busy day, you don't have time for a full 20 or 30 minutes of meditation, you want to do something short. So I created these 3-minute mindful check-in meditations. I also have a couple special ones. This one's called Enough, and this is the Don't Know meditation. And these are ones that our members have really responded to. I haven't shared them elsewhere. Sometimes I share things here that I'm testing out before I put them on my YouTube channel. Sometimes they just stay here. Here's the Mother's Heart meditation, which I eventually did release at Mother's Day 2 years ago, but I shared it here first. Actually, I think that was last year. And then sperm quality affirmations is something that kind of co-wrote with a member who was wanting to help her partner out. And that's available in here, as well as a few affirmation sets for pregnancy, in particular the early pregnancy. Okay. And then you can also download all the transcripts for my affirmations, all the week-by-week affirmations, and the affirmations from all of the mind-body core practices that are inside this program. I also have a little video set here explaining how to learn proper posture for meditation. If you want to come out of lying down and be seated, there are a lot of details that are helpful to understand about how to do that. And I show you how to shop for gear to support your restorative yoga practice. Lots of things that can be helpful to make that practice really supportive and relaxing for you. So there are a lot of little support pieces in there to help support your ongoing meditation practice. And here you'll see week 1 is everything that you've already done. I consolidated it into one module here, so you can quickly go back to review any of these. These will all be very familiar to you. And then we take some time off, and then in a short while, we'll be beginning week 2 practices. And so this follows the same format. It's all going to feel very familiar. There's a certain amount of review, and there's a sort of a different vibe than the Chill Out Retreat because we don't have quite so many people going through. So it's a little bit more quiet feel, and you get to know the people who are going through this with you because you see the same people commenting regularly, and you'll also get to know them through our meetup sessions, our live sessions, and you'll recognize each other from the retreat as well. So you can get daily email reminders on the weeks when we're doing these series if you wish to, if you find those reminders helpful. So there's a theme for each week: awareness and present moment focus for week 2. And I'm going to explain, sometimes I have a video, sometimes it's written. I'll walk you through what that theme is. And then we're going to bring that theme in through affirmations, through movement, through restorative breathing. I'm going to show you new postures, new ways of doing some of the different postures. And each week you'll get a different restorative yoga posture that I'll break it down in a video and explain exactly how to do that. We have a relationship piece in each of the weeks to keep on bringing this mindful experience, not just for within ourselves, but for around ourselves and within our relationships. So here's week 3, the principles non-judgment. I break that down so you understand exactly what we mean by that. Same thing in week 4. The theme is acceptance. And what do we really mean by the term acceptance? It's not necessarily what it sounds like on the face of it. And then same thing in week 5. I break down the concept of validation. What does that mean? How do we apply that? How do we feel that in our bodies through movement, through action, in our relationships? So these are all pieces that are part of my Mind Body Core Practice series. And that's something we go through together as a group, or you can go through on your own at your own pace. You can come back to any of it anytime. You can review. You can access all this content at any time. It's not dripped out day by day. It's all right there laid out for you. Okay, so that is what's inside this course area. Now you'll have access to all these other courses as soon as you sign up. And the rest of these, I encourage you to check in and see when it feels relevant to you. When do you feel interested and motivated to go through it? So this is the laid back cycle charting course, learning how to take your temperature and test your LH hormone to see when you're going to be ovulating. And I break it down in a lot of detail, explaining the things that you'll want to consider buying, the apps that you might use. And we go into other details of how to get the most out of your fertile window, what likely matters, what likely doesn't matter. And then how to interpret your chart. So there are a lot of different patterns that we might see on a chart, and how do you interpret that? And how do you interpret that in terms of Chinese medicine? So I have links to an acupuncturist website where she broke down pretty well how an acupuncturist thinks of these different cycle charting patterns. So these are all things that are very empowering to learn about. And I break it down so that it's not overwhelming or intimidating. And you can use that if it feels helpful to you. And I talk about, once you've tried this, how you decide whether it's something you want to continue incorporating into your program or not. Maybe you'll find it's helpful, maybe not. I also have a bonus section here on early pregnancy testing. When is that helpful? When might it not be? It kind of depends on your personality, but I talk about how you can do that and things to watch out for, how to make it most likely that you can detect an early pregnancy if that's what you're choosing to do. So I call it laid back cycle charting because I don't want it to be a stressful element of your program. And I believe there are ways to do it that can be less stressful than what people are commonly teaching each other to do. So you can access that whenever you feel called to it. Also, we have the Improving Egg Quality Workshop, which some of you may have already done, but it was a 2-hour workshop that I recorded back in January. I've got 2 versions of it. We had 2 live sessions. And since then, I've continued to add in new bonus content. This is my quick start egg nurturing plan. I'm always looking for ways to simplify things, to help them be easy on your mind. So I do the research for you, and then I simplify it down to something that can be bite-sized and easy for you to integrate into your lifestyle. A little while back, I did a session breaking down the latest research that I found on supplements and how you can incorporate that into your system. And also, we did this fertility assessment co-working session where we went through a whole process of going through assessment forms, which are actually part of the 90-day egg nurturing program. So there's a lot of pieces in there, and you'll have access to that workshop, any bonuses that I add. And I'm going to continue doing workshops like that on different topics. And as a member, you get access to any of these workshops that I roll out. So that's a little bonus. Who knows what's coming? I tend to be spontaneous and creative, but I listen to what people in my community are needing, where they're getting stuck, and that's often how I decide what to create next. I want to walk you through now the 90-day egg nurturing program. So this is the first course I started to create after my own fertility experiences after my daughter was born, and I wanted to share these methods with others. And I started out with my biggest course, and then I worked my way back into smaller bite-sized things. So this is the big course, and I really put a lot of thought into laying it out to walk you through a journey of opening your mind and understanding this approach and then implementing it. So we have kind of introductory mindset pieces. These are all lessons on how to, what this mindset is about. What is the mind-body approach? What are we looking at with cellular development? How does this all make sense? And what are the core premises? I touched on a lot of this in the Improving Egg Quality workshop, but I didn't go into as much detail. And there's one of my key concepts that I did not include there because I was trying to keep it light and simple. But there's a key concept I call the Gale score that you don't find until you get inside toward the end of Module 2 in my 90-day egg nurturing program. And then in the modules 3 and 4, we're working through practical steps to get a program set up for yourself, to get yourself kind of on a schedule, to be journaling and tracking the kinds of things that are going to help move you in this direction. This is also not included in the Improving Egg Quality workshop. It's just more detail. I tried to keep that workshop very light and simple. Module 5 is a very important piece that I really want everybody to do, whether or not you're focusing on egg quality, but for wherever you are in your fertility journey, I wish that everybody would go through my assessment process where I break down a whole bunch of details on different things you might want to consider for medical tests. Not every doctor does every kind of test, but it's helpful to know what all the different things are so that you can figure out what kind of provider to go to ask for things that might be relevant for you. I feel assessment is so important. And similar rundown, I just kind of give an overview about sperm testing for the men. And then this whole person assessment is something that I created that has been really impactful for the women who go through it. It's something that you can fill out on your own, and I can help you interpret it. I do individual sessions for those who want to do that as a separate thing beyond the program, but I also have taken time to really show you how you can go about exploring this on your own. And in fact, there's so much that I wanted to teach about that I created a separate workshop series to keep breaking it down and help people through it. So I created, it's 4 videos, half an hour to an hour each, walking you through the different elements of how to go through this, how to think about this, how to think from an integrative health standpoint, not just from one perspective, but from multiple perspectives, and then how to pull that together, how to work with your providers, how to create a team. These are all parts of really turning over every rock and not being too narrow in your focus, and getting the most out of the range of resources that we can tap into if there seems to be something missing from your fertility puzzle. Things aren't quite coming together. So I really encourage that integrative approach, and I've developed these things to help you understand what that means and how to get the right people on your team to help you do that. Sort of an extension of that is the bonus inside the Improving Egg Quality Workshop. The last bonus that I added in is the Integrated Fertility Assessment co-working session. So I did a session as a bonus here where I gave everybody access to all those forms that were in assessment in Module 5. And I said, let's sit down together on a Zoom call. And I had about, 24 women sitting together for an hour and a half, and I guided them through how to think about those forms, and we just worked on it together, and they found it really helpful. And that replay is there so you can follow along. But it's something that I feel so strongly about that I'm going to continue having sessions inside Conceive With Ease with members to make sure that you're getting your questions answered, that you can do that assessment thoroughly, so that you can have the best chance of understanding how to bring your fertility into alignment. So that's all related to this Module 5 assessments in the 90-day egg nurturing program. Once we have a picture of what's going on, then we can better create your custom program. And that's what we start to do in Module 6. We talk about establishing visions and intentions and how to hold those visions, how to set your priorities, how to create affirmations related to your visions and priorities, and then how to set up routines. I have recommendations for a morning routine, an evening routine, how to keep checking in and monitoring your progress in a very gentle way to help you move through and incorporate all of this into your lifestyle. Module 8 is something that I put together on transforming intentions into habits. It's very easy to say, this is what I want to do for my health. I've got my plan, I've got my strategies, and then not succeed at doing it. So I put together this module based on a lot of, behavioral psychology, how to turn our intentions into habits. I'm kind of reworking this, and I'm doing this in real time inside of our community because I've had newer thoughts on what I think are going to be a kind of an expansive way to approach forming new habits. So that's something new. I'm kind of reworking this section based on what I think is going to be most helpful. Now, Module 9, the resource library in the egg nurturing program, is where all the goodies are in terms of all the research that I went through on different aspects of things that might impact your egg quality and your fertility. And I break it down in a lot of detail. I show you exactly the research that I looked at and the conclusions I came to. So here's a section on alcohol, caffeine, and other substances. And I show you, caffeine, I show you the links to all the studies that I looked at. This was very interesting. They looked at brain scans, people who using a lot of caffeine, low users, and how they could actually see the impact on people's brains. This is pretty remarkable. And then I explain, I go into all the detail, and then I do kind of my summary. So if you don't want to go down the rabbit hole, you can just look at my summary. I mean, look at all this is on alcohol and how this might affect you. Nicotine, okay, that's no good. Stay away from that. But here, closing thoughts. Okay, so there's tons of stuff in there, and I'd like to summarize it so that it's not overwhelming. And if you want to, you can just go right to my summary at the end, my personal recommendations on how you might move forward. Castor oil packs, supplements. The more updated version of that is the one that I did in the Improving Egg Quality workshop. We talk about sleep. We talk about nutrition. So in the nutrition area, I went into a lot of different research on what kinds of diets, what kinds of issues we look at when it comes to food and fertility, macronutrients, micronutrients, specific issues like dairy, gluten, and hydrating, toxins in foods, Mediterranean diet, on and on and on. So there's tons of information in here, fertility cookbooks, and a summary. So you don't have to go through all that detail. You can jump to my summary, save yourself a little bit of exploration. But I encourage you to take time when you have the interest, when you have the curiosity, when you feel motivated to dive in and go through the path, follow along with me. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to share with you my process, my thought process, because we don't have all the answers. We gather information, and I show you how I do that, so that you can come to your conclusions. You might come to different conclusions than I do, and your body is unique. So I'm really encouraging you to tune into your body. Similarly, I looked at all the research I could find on exercise and fertility. I break it down, some really interesting things I discovered along the way. I break it down and I summarize it for you. Toxins, acupuncture and Chinese medicine, massage and body work. More topics to come. I always have more ideas than I can address. So you can see my list of other things that I'd like to address. Some of these I have addressed in my newer programs, mindfulness practices. Okay, you know what I've done with that. I've been teaching that to you in the Chill Retreat, and I continue with the mind, body, core practices. So this was sort of my brainstorm of additional things that were not at the top of the list of the things everybody wanted to hear about, but things that I have been weaving in a lot of different little ways. Okay, and Module 10, after we've gone through all that, Module 10, we talk about the details of how to get pregnant, different things about understanding timing. A lot of that we'd already talked about, but I delve into a little more detail there. Assisted reproductive technology, dealing with losses, alternate pathways that you might consider, such as donor egg and donor embryo, how to think about that, where to get support around that, surrogacy. And so that is kind of the wrap-up module, like where do you go after your exploration into egg nurturing? Maybe you do it for 90 days and take a break trying to conceive before you try again. Maybe you continue during your egg nurturing period. It's not really a set period of 90 days. It's a way I like to conceptualize it so people don't think they're going to get it done in 3 weeks. But it's really whatever length of time you feel that your body needs. And it's a little bit of an intuitive thing to figure out what that length of time is. We don't actually have any tests at this particular time to know with any precision what that time period needs to be, but the general recommendation is several months rather than several days or even several weeks. But I have seen evidence that suggests that even those weeks leading up to ovulation could possibly be pretty impactful on the qualities of your eggs. So I wouldn't stress out too much about exactly how much time you've got in the bank for nurturing your eggs, but I would just try to give your eggs your best nurturing for as long as you can throughout this process of your trying to conceive journey. Okay, so that's the 90-day egg nurturing program, and you can go through that at your own pace. I'm always available to help guide you and answer questions, and we have monthly I call it deep dive fertility coaching sessions, where you can show up on a Zoom call with me live. And it's usually just a handful of women. I can help you through navigating through this content specific to your situation. Okay, we talked about the fertility assessment workshop series. And this is this course area is a collection of coaching sessions. So when I do our monthly meetups, this is more of a social meetup for everybody in the program at all different stages. They may be pregnant, they may be postpartum, they may be trying to conceive. And we get together and connect around establishing our visions, some of the core principles of the program, the things that apply to everyone. And I'll record the kind of the guided part of that, and I'll share that in a recording for those who couldn't make it live. And then we also have a breakout room session where we break into small groups and everybody can chat in a small group setting together. So that's something really fun that we do as a program once a month. And then occasionally I have a special guest do a workshop. And here's Beth Bulwark. She's a professional singer, and she has created a protocol for singing lullabies to your baby, whether there's a baby in your belly, you're pregnant, or there's a baby that you're calling to you as you're trying to get pregnant. So we had a beautiful session with her, and that's recorded. You can watch it anytime. We had a holistic nutritionist come and contribute her methods and do a Q&A with us around nutrition, endometriosis, fertility, and pregnancy. We had a divine feminine educator. Her name is Anathea, and she talked about embracing your sexuality. That was a wonderful session. And most recently, we had a special guest, Vanessa Clayton, talk with us about boundaries for empaths. That was a very enriching session, and all of these workshops are in a library here for you to watch at any time. I also shared with you back in December, we shared about this in the post-retreat wrap-up session, the live session. We had a sound healing session with a member of our program who is a musician, and I shared one of the pieces, but there are 3 pieces that they played for us. Her and her partner played 3 pieces for us, and these are in the recording that you can access at any time too. Sometimes I'll just pull that up to watch and cry again because it's so moving. Okay, so there's tons of gems scattered throughout here, and periodically I'll point out an old recording that's worth coming back to so everybody can revisit it and see it if they hadn't seen it the first time around. Okay, we also have my Fertile Mindset guided tour. This is something that you may have already gotten access to before you came into the Chill Retreat, but this is a 10-day course that guides you through the different meditations that are on my YouTube channel. So these are guided imagery meditations mostly, and each of them has a different kind of magic in it. And I share with each one kind of what went into creating that meditation, how it came to be, how I recommend using it. And so this is something that you can access and go through at any time. So here's my healing meditation, and I talk about, details about how to think about that, how to get the most out of that. Okay, the last thing I want to screen share with you is our community forum. So our forum is not in social media. It's not on Facebook. There are no outside distractions. You can log in here. You can actually download an app for it. You can put a home screen on your devices. And there are many sections here to help you get the most out of the program. This is an announcements page where you'll see all the different activities that are going on. You can see a calendar, a Google Calendar that you can add to your own calendar. We have many different areas depending on what's going on for you. Here's a pregnancy chat room for the women in the program who have gone on and gotten pregnant, and they're connecting about the different stages of what's on their minds. We have a section for assisted ART, assisted cycles. Quite a few women going through that part of their journey and sharing as they go. And then we have another section for general fertility and trying to conceive. I have a little book club section if somebody wants to suggest a book and see if anybody wants to read with them. And a main chat room where we just share, whatever's going on, whatever's on our mind, staying connected. I also have this visions and goals area where we each have shared like a sort of a journal on how we're developing our visions and how that's happening over time. So this was actually that module 8 I mentioned that I'm reworking in the egg nurturing program. I'm actually reworking it through this section of our community forum where you can share your vision, and I've actually created a little series of workshops on how to manifest your vision using simple meditations, using imagery, using affirmations, and I'm guiding that step by step. And you can begin your vision manifestation process at any time, and you start a post and then you can just keep updating it and share as you go how that's evolving for you. Here's a section I call milestones and wins, and I encourage everyone to come in and share the progress that they're making. And once a month for our monthly meetups, we do prize drawing, and you get points by sharing your wins and updating your visions manifestation posts. So that is our community forum. It's evolving, it's growing, and we also have small groups, these buddy groups that I set up for small group connections so people can get to know each other. And I have like 6 to 8 people in each group. They can get to know each other more intimately, set up their own private meetups, live meetups if they wish to, things like that. So that's something new that we've just gotten started recently. Okay, so that is an overview of all the different components that are inside your program as soon as you join Conceive with Ease. And it's really designed to be customized to what you need. And you can pick and choose which of these things you want to include in your program depending on your timing, how much time you have, what you're interested in, what you feel is relevant to you. The only thing that we go through in a more guided, structured way is the 7-day series of mind, body, core practices. And it's also optional if you want to sync up with the group going through that or not. And when we go through the whole series, we start again. And so you can always just jump back into the cycle at any time if you feel like, you got busy and you missed out, and you can access that content at any time that you want to go through on your own as well. Everything is designed to be very flexible so that it can fit with whatever pacing you want to go through it with, and to be flexible with life, because you never know what's going to come up in your life that may take you off track and draw your focus elsewhere, but that's fine. I want everyone to have a very expansive, lighthearted, and easygoing approach to this so that this program doesn't become a stressor in your life. That's the opposite of the direction we want to go. Please let me know if you have any questions about this. There's so much richness in here, and just wanted to take this time to make a video of inside so that you can have a better tangible sense of what it is that's available to you when you join the Conceive with Ease program.